this will be my closing question because I know you're a busy guy. Because I could talk to you for a long time, and there's so many topics I want. Even on the AI side, I want to talk to you about other things, but we'll save that for some other time. As you put this project together, you're going through the book. Were there any I didn't see that one coming, or something that just stood out that didn't make it in the book?
Yeah, no. So there's some stuff that we didn't talk about in this this podcast. There's some stuff in the we don't even talk about it when we present this like in a keynote or anything, but it's in the book, and I think it's super interesting. These are not. So I want to be careful here because these are not things I would tell salespeople to go do, but I would tell you that they're natural outcomes of having done all this stuff right. And what I'm speaking specifically is like kind of the audio signature of a high performers call versus an average performers call. So what we like to say is a high performers call just sounds different, and that's kind of blindingly obvious, right? But let me be specific here. There are some audio characteristics in a high performers call that were totally surprising to us, given what else is out there and what's talked about on LinkedIn about what we should and shouldn't do. So I'll give you a couple of examples. One, it turns out high performers actually talk more than the customer. And we always talk about like, you want to talk less, you want to ask the question, let the customer go. But high performers actually talk more. Now, the guidance is not just fill the airtime. Don't let the customer talk. The guidance or the takeaway should be when you are seen as a trusted expert that is delivering a lot of value, you earn the right. The customer wants to hear from you. You were adding a lot of value. So again, it's more of an output than something I would tell people to go do. Here's another one, even more specific. We found that that high performers actually talk over the customer and interrupt them a lot more than average performers. Now that my mom taught me, my boss taught me that was really rude to do, and so we're really surprised by that. But we dug into a little bit of the social science. There's like a couple paragraphs or pages in the book we talk about this technique of cooperative overlapping. So the difference between a conversation with somebody where you're like, they're not really listening to what I'm saying. There's some dead air, silence time. We found silence time. There's a lot of it on average performer calls. And it's actually like, it's a good marker that you're not engaged, you're not fully plugged in. High performers calls, they're finishing thoughts. There's a lot of audio feedback, like not audio feedback in a bad way, but verbal feedback. So it's when you're saying something, I'm like, yeah, oh, totally. Yep. Right on. And you're finishing thoughts and you're jumping in, and it's like conversations between two old friends. And now again, what the guidance should be, why I say it's an output, not an input, is I would not tell people that you're going to sell more by interrupting people. That's not the right takeaway. The right takeaway is when you are an expert, when you're trusted, when you are fully dialed in, that is a natural output of what that call is going to sound like afterward. You're going to be sharing a lot of value, and the customer wants to hear the value. You're going to be piling on, interjecting, offering confirmation and, expressions of, that's interesting. Like while you're talking to the customer, again, the way your best friend would if you were having a great engaged conversation with them.
So I'm going to make a meta statement. You ready? Here comes a meta statement.
Sure. Yeah.
If somebody were to review this conversation we just had, they would see that I probably listened 20% of the time. You talked 80% of the time because I really wanted to hear what you had to say. And that goes to the positioning yourself. The second part on the cooperative overlapping, there's a couple of times where I stepped on you.
For sure.
I was excited. It was a great conversation. So if somebody who actually listened to this podcast, it's a perfect example.
Yeah.
So on that note, hey, give me I know we're done with time here, but Matt, give these folks some indication where they can learn more about you. Sure. Buy the book maybe ahead of time, which I highly recommend. Go for it.
Yeah. So go visit our website that we built around the book at jolteffect.com. And if you do pre-order the book, send it to preorders@jolteffect.com. We're going to be running a special event with some special guests like Dan Pink, who's joining us in
To Sell is Human.
To Sell is Human, obviously great book. So Pink is going to be joining us for that event. We got a few other special guests, some surprise guests. And that's going to be probably early October timeframe. Give people a chance. Book comes out September 20th. Sure. Give them a chance to read it, digest it, then have a kind of conversation with some other outside experts, give people a chance to ask questions after they've been able to marinate in some of those ideas. But jolteffect.com is the website. You can learn more about where to pre-order. There's going to be some free tools and resources on there. And then, of course, companies may want to know, hey, how do I get some of these skills and behaviors out there for my salespeople. So lots of different options about how to do it, from like DIY self-service all the way to more formal kind of training and workshops and stuff like that.
Love it. And if you want to find out more about Matt Dixon, you'll find his profile on LinkedIn. And on that note, this is Victor Antonio. Again, leave me some feedback on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Pandora, Spotify. We're all over the place. Leave us some feedback. Love to hear what you think. After you do that, please go to jolteffect.com. Follow Matt's advice. Get the information. Buy the book. I'm just telling you, just buy the book. If there's some tools there, take advantage of that. And after you do that, check out the Sales Velocity Academy at salesvelocityacademy.com. And on that note, this is Victor Antonio, always reminding you that selling ain't hard when you jolt them and you know how. Take care.